What are the easiest ways to make money in 2021? That's going to be the topic of today's video. Okay everyone, if you're a high net wealth individual in particular or an expat, go over to adamfire.com and see how I can help you. Now on this video, I'm going to talk about a question I get asked time and time again online. What's the easiest way to make money? And you get this question, or I get this question in pretty much every year. And basically what I always say to people is this, is that at the end of the day, most people do want money, whatever they say. That doesn't mean everyone's materialistic. Not everybody wants to make loads of money so they can buy Lamborghinis and go out in the streets and show off and whatever. But most people want money from the point of view that, think about your network. If they won the lottery, millions of dollars or pounds or euros or whatever, most people wouldn't just give it all away to charity. Most people would either spend it and show off if they're the materialistic type, or they would invest it and use it for passive income if they're more focused on security. So people might have different reasons for wanting money, but most people of course want money. And that kind of leads to my first point, and that's, if there was an easy and simple way of making loads of money, then basically everybody would do it, right? If you said to someone, do this, it's easy and simple, why wouldn't most people do it? So often the easiest ways of making money are things which are either easy but not simple, or simple but not easy. Let me explain that. Many people will say, oh, such and such, he made millions of dollars and all he did was buy, I don't know, stocks in the 1960s, and he bought and held those stocks for decades, or he bought real estate in London or New York in 1970 and now he's worth millions. Anyone could do that. It's true to say that anyone, well not literally anyone, because you need at least a bit of money to get started. It's true to say anyone can do that, hold assets long term and basically just reap the benefits of that and ride the wave of the ups and downs. But that doesn't mean it's easy and simple, right? It's easy, it's not technically difficult, you don't need a high IQ to do it, but let's face it, how many people do you know who have the self-control to say, buy today and then don't sell out until 2065 or something? It takes a lot of emotional resilience. It means not selling during market crashes. It means not kind of getting too flustered during those very bad moments as well. So the reason this works for a lot of people around the world is that also you're not competing against other people. In other words, if I buy the S&P 500 for decades and you buy the S&P 500 for decades, we can both make a lot of money. We're not competing against each other. Whereas obviously in business, if you get to the top of the mountain, some people at the bottom want to kind of take your lunch, so to speak. There's always a competition. That's one example. But there are other ways as well. So for example, very boring jobs. Some very boring jobs, mind-numbing jobs, can sometimes pay a lot of money. Likewise, some relatively dangerous jobs can sometimes pay money. I'm not even talking about ultra dangerous. I'm talking about, for example, if you work for a multinational organization and you ask to become an expat, but you are sent to a part of the world which is known to be quite dangerous, like if you're in oil and gas and you want to work in Iraq because you've heard that the terms and conditions on offer by BP or Shell are very good, you're going to get paid a lot of money, right? Because obviously you're probably not going to have any kind of social life, at least whilst you're on the grid, or if you're working for another company, you're going to be in some kind of fortified compound. You're going to have security when you go from the office back home. So if you're willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do, whether that's in investing, whether it's in business or whatever, you're more likely to make money. Another example of that is some very simple business techniques, like traditionally door-to-door sales, cold calling. I know many middle-aged and older people who started out with these techniques when they were young. And of course, it was easier to do those things back then when they didn't have a bad reputation. But the point is, all they did was do a very boring task very well. Then when they were strong enough, they then employed people. They managed those people, they grew the team. But the point is, most people couldn't do that kind of thing. Most people can't take rejection all day just because one or two people will accept what they're saying. So those are like 3 or 4 or 5 examples of a key point. If you're willing to do what other people aren't willing to do, you can sometimes make money, even if it's not difficult. It's very rare to find something which is both easy, simple, and enjoyable, where there's loads of money. It does happen, but usually it's like jobs which are very competitive. So if you want to become, I don't know, a world-class scientist, then of course that might be enjoyable if you like doing that kind of thing, but it's super competitive. But in general, the easiest way actually to make money, whether it's online, whether it's offline, whether it's this year or last year, or indeed probably in 10 years, is to do things that people aren't willing to do. Usually that means things that are boring, things that are a bit more risky than most people are willing to kind of get involved with. Or it could just mean something which is simple but not easy, or easy but not simple. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.